Whoa, looky there.
Hello, everyone. How are we doing tonight?
Pretty good.
All right, y'all feel free to unmute yourself here for a second while everybody gets settled in. Nice hat, Jordan.
Thank you.
Solid hat.
Thank you. I thought I'd bring a little joy along y'all's way since the last few months have been nothing but unjoy.
Yeah, well, you were here last week too, weren't you?
Yes.
That's right. It's good to see you again, buddy.
Thank you. I just want to be one who's interested in academics. I want to show what I consider academic activism.
Hey, I like that.
Go for it, Jordan.
That guy right there. That's the guy.
Thank you.
Yeah. How's Andrew doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. How are you, man?
You know what? I can't complain.
That's good. Me neither.
You guys, we just love seeing y'all smiling faces because we got to look at our ugly mugs all day on this Zoom.
Hey, hi, Sarah.
Now, there's
Welcome
only
back.
one mug.
How are you
No,
doing?
I'm joking.
Pardon?
How are you doing?
Hey, Michael, there's a Brandon Ferris on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Brandon Ferris. Hi, Brandon.
Well, hi, Brandon. And we have a Sarah without an H and a Sarah with an H. So maybe that should be a poll question tonight.
Yes.
We have both, and there's got to be something with that.
It's Sarah May.
They're still coming
It's
in.
Sarah May, just to
Yeah, that's all right.
make things confusion.
Sarah May, okay.
Beautiful.
The lovely name.
Yes.
Thank you for joining
Thank
us
you.
tonight.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. The pleasure is ours. We love doing this. We got Emery out there getting himself situated. Welcome.
Thank you.
Look at all these beautiful peoples. What do you think, Michelle?
Michael, was that people or people with an S? What did you say?
I said peoples.
Oh, I thought that's what I heard.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes, beautiful. This is great.
Peoples. This is great,
And
great.
I can't wait for Kimberly to take that poll so we can see where everybody is at in the process.
I know. That's going to be an interesting one tonight.
That's a good one.
They're still coming in. I will let you know in just a minute, Michelle.
All right, well, that's fine. Anybody got a clean joke they like to tell? Needs to be clean.
That's dangerous.
How do you make a tissue dance?
I'm
I
afraid
know
of
this
that.
one. Put a little boogie in it.
Put a little boogie in it. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's just wrong.
You know.
So listen, so I have one. You ready? Never kiss your honey when their nose is kind of runny. You may think it's funny, but it's not.
Oh. No. Let me tell you a good one. The Lord
All
said
right.
unto John, "Come forth and receive eternal life." Well, he came fifth and received a toaster.
Oh.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Hey, what happens when a frog's car breaks down? Michelle?
It gets towed.
I pulled up some videos for you.
Oh, wow, that's my computer talking. Yes, it gets towed.
Yeah.
Oh. Kimberly, are we ready? At least
We are
close?
ready. Yes, we are ready now, Michelle.
All right.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Listen, we are on the countdown. 20 more days until we are rocking and rolling, and you're in class with us at CVCC. Again, welcome to CVCC. My name is Michelle Fletcher, and I am the academic recruiter for the college. We've got a lot we want to share with you this evening, so we are going to get right to it. Got a lot of folks that are waiting to talk with you about how to get started and making sure that you are on track and have the right information come fall, well, come August 24th. I do want to highlight a special presenter with us tonight, our Accessibility Services Coordinator, Meredith McLaughlin. Meredith is going to be talking with us about all the support services that we put in place to help our students reach their academic goals. So we've got a lot of good things we want to share with you, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Dean Ferris is going to come and say a quick hello, and then after that, Kimberly will come lay out the rules of engagement for tonight, and we are off and running after that. So Dean Ferris?
Yes. Oh, is it my turn?
It's your turn.
Oh, thank you very much. How you doing, everybody? I sure hope y'all are doing well. We, as you can see, we're excited. We love doing these sessions. We have so much fun doing them. And we all know what time it is. It is time to come to CVCC. It's
Yes.
August. You waited all summer long, and now's the time. We are excited. We are ready to help you. And well, I could go on all night, but this is not that session. So I'm going to pass it over to Kimberly. Welcome again, everyone. Kimberly will get us squared away.
All right, I was just trying to get some more students in here for you. Hello, everyone. I'm Kimberly French. I'm your first year programs coordinator. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the rules of engagement. So at the bottom of the screen, you can see a few things where it says participants. Underneath of it, you can raise your hand. You can ask a question in the chat feature. We will have a question and answer feature for you at the very end. So we will also entertain some questions after each person speaks. So please feel free to think of the questions that you may have. At the bottom, you'll see a place where it says reactions. If you see something that you really like, you could put a thumbs up. You can also do a clap if there's something that you think is good. Please feel free to do that. We are monitoring these. We're monitoring the chat. So if there's any questions that come through, we'll be looking at them. The whole group here will be monitoring that for you. So each one of us will be answering your questions. I do want to engage you just for a minute with a poll question that we have for you. We kind of want to know where you are in the process. So I'm going to launch this poll. All right, and I'm going to give you a little bit to see where you are. You can choose multiple options. So if you are in multiple areas of this right now, feel free to answer whatever choices are the best for you. So if you've applied already and you've already enrolled, that's great. You can choose both of them. All right, so I've got the majority of these. So I'm going to end the polling and I'm going to share the results. So for those of you who have applied to the college, the majority have applied for financial aid and are ready to enroll in classes. 17% of you are dual enrolled, and it looks like 28% need help with registering for classes. So I'm glad that you're here tonight. We can talk to you about some of that for you. Also, if you're still considering CVCC, what we can do to make you get enrolled for the fall semester. I'm curious for those of you who have other, what would be the other for us? Could you share? And if you want to share in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and let us know either way.
Delays due to certain things like IRS and other things like that.
For is that for the financial aid process?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Yes, for me, I'm actually already enrolled and have everything scheduled as well.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Glad to hear
I'm
that.
way ahead.
Yay. Glad to hear that.
You're just waiting.
Yes, I am.
Hey,
That's a
just
good
real
feeling.
quick, I have a question for Jacob. Jacob, did you already sign up for all of your classes though? Are those squared
Yes,
away? You're
yes,
just
sir.
waiting on okay, so you're just waiting on the tax stuff for the financial aid,
Yeah.
and then you're good to go.
I'm just waiting on financial aid as well. I've enrolled in classes when I enrolled in my summer classes.
Awesome.
I
What
have not.
Mhm. Go
I've
ahead.
not enrolled in classes. I did the application over the phone 2 weeks ago because my computer wasn't letting me get in to do it, and I have not finished my financial aid application because I don't have my 2018 taxes, and I had to call the tax people I did it with, and I actually have to call them again and get the rest of the information.
Awesome. Okay. There's some good chat coming through, so they're waiting
There's
on.
a couple out there referring to their books, that they can't get their books. What's the issue with the books?
It may be financial aid. Are you waiting for your financial aid to get your books, which is starting August the 10th? You can get your books charging with financial aid in the bookstore. You do have to, I just want to make sure you know that you do have to do your book authorization through your SIS account. So when you log in your My CVCC, you do have to go into your Student Information Systems account and authorize the bookstore to be able to charge your book. So that is a link in your to-do list. And that is
Kimberly, there's an end date to that as well, right? So from August 10th to what, September 10th? With
Right.
financial aid, with the books?
Yep. I believe it's August 10th to September 10th is when you can purchase books in the
Okay,
bookstore using your financial aid. That's right, Michelle.
right. Okay.
Oh. Lots of good questions, and we hadn't even really gotten
Well,
started.
I've tried to go ahead and do the navigation through the SIS and try to get my books through SIS, and I know I have to wait until August 10th, but I tried to go ahead along with the prompt from my orientation, but my phone and my computer is giving me issues, so I'm using my mom's computer as of now, but I'm waiting to get my computer in to see if maybe it's just me having computer issues, but I'm having issues all around.
Oh no, Kat.
So yeah.
Well, you're still excited though, aren't you?
Uh-oh. Okay, I
Oh,
can't
no.
hear anything.
Stephanie, your microphone's not working. It's okay. There is a question about the Stay Close, Go Far or Gear Up Scholarship. So if you are part of the
You
Stay
guys,
Close, Go Far scholarship, then you will have payment. You will just want to make sure you want to double check with either the financial aid office in your to-do list. In your student information system account, you can see where that payment is going through. If you are eligible and you are receiving any aid, it will show up in there for your scholarship amount for you as well. And Ryan will probably talk about some of that in his presentation for you for financial aid as well.
Yeah, just real quick, let me just mention one thing and then we can get started. With the Gear Up, if you are eligible for the Gear Up, we will receive a list of eligible students. So we don't have that list yet from Gear Up for the list of students. So don't worry, be patient. We will get it, and once we get it, we'll take care of you. So no worries, you're not gonna be dropped from your classes, so don't worry about that. So you're good to go, okay?
Yeah. And
Brandon, if you have an extra question at the end of my slide presentation later on is our email address. Your name looks familiar, so I may have talked to you before, I don't remember, but send me an email for sure, and we can take a look at your specific situation.
There are some questions. I'm going to let some of the speakers, when they talk about, so Raylene, when it comes to talking about how the classes are going to be handled, I'll let you talk about that as being the college navigator and talking about some of those other questions that are coming through. So I'm going to hand it over now to our first presenter, Meredith McLaughlin, who's going to be able to talk to you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Meredith McLaughlin, and I'm the Student Accessibility Services, or SAS coordinator. And I work with students with disabilities by making our college accessible to them. So I level the playing field by setting up something called accommodations for those students. So for those of you who don't know what accommodations are, they're supports and services provided on college campuses so qualified students with disabilities have equal access and opportunity to benefit from classes, programs, and activities. They're provided to any students that are taking course at the college. That includes dual enrolled students, homeschooled students, any students. So a few examples of accommodations would be something like extra testing time, read aloud for testing, using reduced distraction room to take tests. Some students need to record lectures. Some people need to sit in a specific seat. I even had to get a specific chair for somebody once. But the accommodation always needs to be related to the type of disability. So the chair that I had put in the room for the student was for back pain. So getting the chair was the accommodation. It was related to the disability, which was chronic back pain. When a student has a physical disability, though, I could see that. So that's a little bit different than some of the other disabilities that are not visible. So I help anyone with physical disabilities, but I also help with medical, psychological, or psychiatric disabilities. So that would include things like ADHD or ADD, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, learning disabilities. And I also work with students who have had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school. The other thing I'd like to mention too, it's good to know if you have any severe allergies, because I can put that on an accommodation letter. And that way the whole class doesn't need to know that you have an allergy. It would just be the teacher. And I think it would be a good thing for them to know that you had an EpiPen on you. And I just say that because if you're in something like a lab and somebody's eating tree nuts and then they're touching the microscope, I would rather the teacher make a general announcement saying not to bring something like that to class, just so that you don't get hurt. You'd want to have these accommodations in place when school begins, but you can ask me for accommodations at any time during the semester. I ask you not to wait until the day before the final, though. Some students do that, and it's kind of hard because it's a bit of a process. I know many students try to take college courses without any help too, because they don't want to have a stigma or a label put on them. A lot of the times students will come to me after their first test or their midterm that they didn't do well on, and ask for them to be put in place, which is fine, I could do that, but it's just better to have them in place and they're there if you need them, and then if you don't use them. And no matter when the instructor receives your letters with the accommodations that I write up, they must follow them from that day forward. They have to give them to you, that's the law. So, and I give you these accommodations too, because they're there to help you succeed, just like any other resource we have on campus. I keep your diagnosis private and confidential. Any documentation that you give to me is locked up. I don't discuss your diagnosis with anybody, not your instructors, nobody else knows, just me. They will only see the accommodations that I put on your letter. Your diagnosis is never put on the letters. It's up to you how much you want to disclose about your diagnosis to your instructors. It may help them to help you if they know what your diagnosis is, but you're not in any way required to tell them.
What is this?
What am I speaking about?
Yeah, I got a notification about this Zoom meeting on my phone, and I have no clue what it's for.
Well, this is just like an open house. We're just kind of telling you resources on campus, procedures, things like that. Right now, I'm discussing accommodations, so students with disabilities.
Sorry.
Okay. And the way you go and get the accommodations, so if you're working with an advisor or a counselor and one of the navigators, they can email me, call me, or they could give you my information to set up an appointment with me. Usually I would have the parent, sometimes the parent and the students come and meet with me in my office, and we talk about what your needs are. And many times you don't even know what you need for class. So sometimes I'll even have the students go to class and then come back to me and speak to me so that I can figure out what would be best for them, or we could discuss what would be best for them. And they could be changed over the course of the semester too. I could always add or not really take away, but I could always add to them if needed. This year is going to be different. I can't interview in person. I have to do it over the phone. So the student would fill out an application for me. I then ask for documentation because I need that from either a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or a doctor, or somebody saying that you have a disability, and it just all depends on what your disability is. Then I would write letters of accommodation. We'd meet again and go over them. And then I would give you the letter to give to your teacher, but this year I have to have you sign it and get it back to me, and I send it to the instructor for you. So once the instructor has the signed copy, they have to use them for that day. They have to follow what's on them from that day forward. And it's your responsibility also to come to me. I don't reach out to every single student every semester. You need to get new letters every single semester that you want them, so you'd have to reach out to me every semester, and initially and everything, you have to come to me. I don't reach out to you. We don't have to do this entire process every single semester. The first process is the hardest because I have to get all the documentation and everything from your instructors, from your doctors, and that's the hard part, getting all that together. Then after that, I just kind of write basically the same letter over and over. Okay, and finally, I just want to talk a little bit about having animals on campus. So we only allow service animals on campus. There are no emotional support animals. There are no pets. And there are only 2 animals that are recognized as service animals under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Does anybody know what they are? 2 animals. Everybody knows one. Anyone?
Horse.
Dog.
Wait, what?
Dogs.
Dogs is one. What's the other one?
Cat.
Monkey.
No.
Monkey?
No.
Oh my.
Okay, never mind. Hold on. My grandfather's not here. I can't believe you've done this.
Do you want to know what it is?
Do tell.
Miniature horse. Because they are stronger than dogs and they live longer. So a lot of people have them as their service animal. But that's it. Those are the only 2 service animals recognized. Everything else would be considered emotional support or a pet.
Meredith, have we ever had a miniature horse on our campus?
Not since I've been here, and I don't know if the person before me had them, but I would be so interested. I can't wait for my first miniature horse, honestly. I think it's so interesting that you would pick that and have that. So one more thing, I have my advice to any incoming students is if you don't understand something or if you have questions, make sure you ask. Ask questions if you don't know and you're in class and you don't know the answer. Ask questions of your instructor. Ask financial aid if you have questions. Ask me, ask advisors, ask anyone in counseling, anybody on campus. Always ask questions if you don't know something. Reach out for help if you need it. Saying that, does anybody have any questions?
Great job, Meredith.
Thank you.
Question, are you available for an appointment on Friday?
This upcoming Friday?
Yes, and that is from Jordan.
Jordan, yes. If you want, you could, on the only Meredith, so if you go to our, even if you go to our, you can look up disability on the website and you'll see all my information. Also, if you search for me, I am the only Meredith on campus. So if you do a search for Meredith, you will find me.
And Jordan, I'll have her contact information at the end too. So it'll have her email address and everything for you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
I need to talk to a counselor about enrolling in the IND 140 class, quality control. The only reason I got to enroll in it up there is because I believe it's not going to be offered at DCC. I know I'm being credit overload, so I got to get signed off.
We can help you with that. You'll just need to contact one of us. But when Raylene talks or either Mark Sokola talks, they'll be able to address some of those questions for you.
Yeah, Ethan, I've sent you a private chat message. If you take a look at that and get with me, I can help you out.
Is there like an email that I'll get from you later?
That's right.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you all. I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful college registrar, Karen Alexander, so she could tell you all about the admissions process.
Okay, thank you, Meredith, and welcome again, everyone. We are always so excited to get before groups of students and incoming students like this because there are a lot of things that CVCC offers that we love to showcase, and we love to welcome you in and answer all the questions that you have. Regardless of what the environment looks like, if it's Zoom boxes like this with our heads talking on boxes, we want to assure you that the services we offer across the college are going to be equivalent to what you would receive face-to-face. And someday we will soon be back face-to-face, maybe not in the fall semester for most classes, but we will eventually be back, and we want to make sure that everyone is comfortable going in to know what is available. Now, according to the poll we looked at, about 68% of you had already applied, so that is wonderful. Once you've done the application, gotten your confirmation with your student ID number, you are ready to continue the process, do your FAFSA, begin getting all your classes set up. If you have not yet applied, you can easily do so. It only takes about 5 or 10 minutes. All you have to do is click on the website and click the link that says Apply Now. It will just ask for personal information. The application will ask if you've applied or attended at any Virginia Community College before. I know, for instance, we had Ethan from Danville Community College. If you have already applied elsewhere or at any Virginia Community College, you will use that same student ID number. I saw in the chat earlier someone said that they tried to apply and it said the number was wrong. All you have to do is give admissions a call. We can look it up. You potentially may have duplicate IDs, but we can help you with that process. So if you have any trouble whatsoever applying and doing the application, just give admissions and records a call. Like we said, our contact information will be in the chat here at the end of the presentation. But once you get the application to go through, you will receive your confirmation. The confirmation will also tell you something important. That's whether you are in-state or out-of-state with your tuition. If you have been a Virginia resident for at least a full year, or your parent, if you're under age 24, has been a Virginia resident for a full year, you likely qualify for in-state tuition. We have other exceptions and things like for military members, that waives the 1-year requirement. Most all military members that are residing in Virginia can be considered in-state for tuition purposes. So pay close attention to that on your application. If you have any concerns about your coding for in-state tuition, just let us know. There's an appeal process that we can help you make sure you are coded the way you feel you should be. With that, the in-state tuition is about 1/3 of the out-of-state tuition. It is the lowest, best available tuition rate that we offer, and that is a benefit reserved for Virginia residents. You want to make sure you have that all set aside, squared away with admissions before you even begin setting up your classes. So a couple other things you can do to get set up is to go ahead and get your transcript sent in. I saw a chat question about waiting on some transfer credits from Liberty University. Regardless which institution you've attended in the past, go ahead and request your official transcripts to come in. You can send those directly to admissions and records. Even though we're mostly working remote at this point, we are accepting both mailed and electronic transcripts 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and we are evaluating those as they come in. So you will see the transfer credit posted to your account. That will be under your My CVCC. So if you've not already logged in there, if you go to the website, there's a little link in the upper right-hand corner, My CVCC. You will set up your account there, get logged in. This is your student record. You've heard us say SIS, Student Information System. This is where your records will live in the system. So get signed in early. Your financial aid checklist that Ryan will talk to you in a moment about will be there. Your class schedule will be there. Once you get signed up for courses, you can actually register yourself through courses through your SIS account. You can see your account balance and tuition bill and so forth there. So make sure you get set up in that, get your account up and going, get signed in, check for your transfer credit. If you have high school transcripts, whether you graduated recently, for those 2020, congratulations to you. Regardless of what year you graduated, we may be able to use your high school transcripts, especially within the past 5 years, to help with some of the placement into certain courses. And Raylene and Mark will talk to you more about that throughout the presentation as well. So make sure that's all set up, get everything cleared away and ready to go. We are currently enrolling for fall semester classes, which begin, as we said, on August 24th. So that will give you a chance to get in, get everything squared away, and get your best choice of classes available. So I was going to check chat here and see. There's a couple things that have come in, I believe. So yes, there's a question here sent to me privately. I was mentioned out there, there is a senior citizen waiver for tuition of classes for individuals over age 60. That is something, if you are interested in that and signing up either auditing or taking classes, we can register you for that. There is a form that you can fill out. The individual who's asking if that applies, I can send that form out. We register those on the last day the classes begin. If space is available, we can check enrollment for that. And
Riley has a couple questions, and I see Galaxy S20 has her hand up and it's been up, but I'm not sure. But I'll let Riley go ahead first.
I don't understand how to like get everything going. I registered for school. I filled out my financial aid, but I'm so confused in how to get in classes, like exactly what to do.
okay, we will help you. It sounds like you're well on your way. If you've already gotten your application for the college filled out, got your student ID number, that's squared away. Best step would probably be to speak with our academic counselors or navigators. Navigator, if it's your first year in college, Raylene will speak to you in just a moment and explain that process. You'll just want to set an appointment. They will go through your curriculum plan, make sure you're signed up in the program you want to take, go through the classes you'll take, and help you with setting up the My CVCC account and things like that that we just spoke about. So we will take care of it. Record the number today, email address, we'll get you in there. No problem.
All right, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Right.
Do we have other questions here from Riley or?
Yeah, I have a couple. I applied and my
audio,
but I only got to the basic stuff because
Riley, we're having trouble.
I've already been activated.
Riley, there's a delay on your audio there. I apologize. I couldn't hear your question.
And I've already sent my
you can just type it. We'll address
in my transcript. So I'm not sure what that.
Okay, I apologize. There was a delay on the audio and I couldn't quite make out your question. I heard something at the end about transcripts. But if you will just type your question into chat, I'll be glad to address that, even if it's later on in the presentation. The audio was delayed and I couldn't quite make out what you were saying. But I do want to make sure your question is addressed. If you'll just pop it in there either privately to me or in the general chat, I'll be glad to take care of that question for you. Sorry, I couldn't hear you there. Does anyone else have anything through chat or want to unmute and ask any other questions at this point?
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So I did classes, about 6 or 7 years ago. I was doing classes where I lived, and I think the last time I was actually at the school was the spring of 2016.
Okay.
And I lived about 3 hours away, and it was still part of the Virginia system. And so I think my credits transfer, but I'm not sure how many of them transfer because I know that a couple of my classes I didn't pass and I might have to take over, but I don't know if they apply to what I'm going to school for now because I changed what my major was going to be. And I don't know how to apply for classes.
Did you say it is a Virginia community college that you attended?
Yes.
Okay. Just shoot me an email or something at the end to make sure. We typically try to bring those credits on over from Virginia community colleges. You do not need to request an official transcript. That's the only colleges you don't have to send transcripts through because we see your VCCS accounts in the system and we can automatically pull those credits in. But if you'll just shoot me your name, I can double check your account. We usually try to transfer over most classes that potentially could apply, even if they're not in your direct program, because you may change majors in the future. But if you will just message me, I will make sure I check your account, get all those credits pulled over, and then we can work with you on how many credits apply to your current major.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
I had a quick question.
Sure.
When I went to go order my books, it asked for the student ID and it said that my ID it doesn't link to nothing.
Okay. Again, just private message me and we'll look that up for you, make sure we got the right student ID that's being used. And Ryan will speak about financial aid in just a moment and how the books link to the bookstore and everything as well. That might give you some additional information that will help there.
I have a question.
Okay.
My question is that, well, it's about the email that we received today about paying tuition, and I wanted to know if tuition just means classes that we've registered for, or if there's more to it than that.
You got it. Is that Christian?
Yep.
Yeah, Christian. Yeah, you got it exactly right. I mean, it's whatever you're signed up for now, the tuition is due for. And, you know, just like I've put a little video out on Facebook and some stuff and send in the email. You know, tomorrow we're gonna take a we're gonna collect all the people that paid their tuition on time, and we're gonna do a little drawing, and a couple of folks are gonna get laptops. So that's really cool. So yes, hope that answered your question.
It does. What about if you do the payment plan where you pay it in portions?
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yes,
Okay.
it sure does. Good
All right,
luck.
thank you.
Okay, and before we move on, I see Riley has typed in her question here. It's just that she has submitted transcripts and FAFSA, has not moved on beyond that step to get set up in classes. That's what we'll discuss here in a moment with Raylene and Mark, and that is basically setting up the steps of meeting with the counselor to choose your class schedule and review your account and your major and so forth. So they will address that for you, Riley, here in just a moment.
So if you have FAFSA, will that cover the tuition and stuff, or do you have to pay that?
Your FAFSA, if you have financial aid, and it's more than your tuition, then you'll be just fine.
Okay. Now,
Oh,
they
I'm
said on the bookstore you can get computers. My computer's acting up right now. Could you get that?
Yeah,
Okay.
you sure can, as long as you have enough financial aid to do it.
Okay.
That's a good lead in for Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a question about an email I got from CVCC.
Mm-hmm.
I got an email that said it said something like before I can apply for FAFSA, I have to have my transcripts and stuff. It said from either high school or another VCC. And also applying for classes. When I went to apply for classes, it said, like, it came up with a bunch of apps on the website, on the VCC website, and I didn't know, like, which one I had to press because I was trying to apply for EMT classes. So I didn't know which one I had to do.
Okay, for transcripts, you'll definitely want to get your high school transcript in to verify your graduation date. That may be something that and the other schools will just be for transfer credit purposes. We do want to make sure we award you credit for everything that you've already taken, because if you have credit, then you don't need to repeat courses here that will eat up your financial aid, basically. I do some other questions here about transfer credits and things like that. Anyone that has specific questions can email me directly, and we'll move on with the presentation now, but we will address everything and get your questions addressed. I'll be chatting with a few of you here privately as we move on through the presentation. But we appreciate your questions. This is great. We're all going to stick on and around to the end and do a Q&A with all presenters on board. So at this time, we'll go back through and address some here in the chat, but I'm going to turn it on over at this point to Mr. Ryan McNamara. He's Director of our Financial Aid, and he'll tell you more about the FAFSA process and your aid award and your books and so forth. So Ryan?
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Hey, everybody. Those are some good questions that we've had so far. I am going to share a PowerPoint presentation with you. I'm going to try to go through it quickly because I know you guys have more questions than we have presentations for. So I'm going to go through this real fast. At the end is our contact information. So I would encourage you, if you have specific financial aid related questions for yourself, send us an email. If you have your student ID, include that in it also, so we can take a look at what your specific question is. So real briefly, welcome and congratulations. We're excited that you're going to be joining us this upcoming fall semester. Karen had gone through the how to apply for admission part, so we're going to talk briefly on how to apply for student financial aid. If you have not submitted your FAFSA yet, go ahead and submit that. The website is fafsa.gov, so make sure you do that. Don't wait until you're registered for classes to do that. Go ahead and submit the FAFSA now, because there could, it could take a few days, it could take a week before we get everything that we need from you. So we don't want to waste any time on that. So if you have not submitted the FAFSA and you're planning on enrolling this fall, submit it tonight. All right. So how much does CVCC cost? So let's talk about that real quick. As an in-state tuition rate, Karen had mentioned in-state Virginia residency rate. It's $161.25 per credit hour that you're enrolled. So to give you an idea, that means if you're enrolled for, let's say, 9 credit hours, you would be charged $161.25 times 9. So that kind of gives you an idea of your tuition and fees that you're charged. But we have good news, and that is the FAFSA. There's financial aid available for you. Again, I had mentioned if you're planning to enroll in a few weeks, August 24th is the first day of class. You want to submit the 2020-21 FAFSA, all right? And the bottom bullet point there is really important right now, okay? If you have submitted your FAFSA, but we in the financial aid office have requested documentation from you, like it was mentioned earlier, a copy of taxes, things like that. Make sure you get those into us, because your financial aid is not finalized until we have all of the documents that we need from you, okay? So it's not enough just for you to submit the FAFSA and think that you've done all of your financial aid. So make sure that you've submitted all the documents. You can view those documents that we still need from you in your student center through SIS. If you have questions on that, again, send us an email and we can help you with that. So why should you submit the FAFSA? Because more than likely, if you submit the FAFSA, you're going to be eligible for financial aid, okay? This past semester, 85% of students that submitted a FAFSA received some type of aid, where only 3% of students that did not submit a FAFSA received financial assistance. So again, you want to make sure that you do submit the FAFSA. That's your greatest chance of being eligible to receive financial aid. So we have begun, obviously, awarding for 2020. So you want to make sure that if you have submitted your FAFSA and you have applied for admission, you should have your financial aid awarded to you. If you don't see it there and you are not sure what's going on, again, reach out to us and we can help you with that. If you can include your student ID number, that will help us so we can find you easily and quickly in the system. So some financial aid that you may be eligible for, there are federal grants. The Pell Grant is a need-based grant based on the results of the FAFSA. If you are full Pell eligible, you can receive up to about $6,300 a year if you're enrolled full-time, okay? There's also another federal SEOG grant. It's a need-based grant and it's a first come, first serve. So again, the sooner you get your FAFSA in, the more likely you would be to be eligible for that grant. We have state grants. So if you're a Virginia resident, there's the Commonwealth grant and a part-time tuition grant. The nice thing is these grants will cover you, or you're eligible for them regardless if you're taking 1 credit hour up to full time. So even if you're taking 1 or 2 classes, you could be eligible for that part-time tuition assistance program. So again, you don't have to be full-time in order to receive financial aid. There is aid out there for anybody that's enrolled in classes. There's also a CVCC Educational Foundation that we have. There is an additional application that you need to submit for that. It's here on our website, or if you just do a search on our main website for foundation, you can find the application link there for you. We also offer loans. These student loans are backed by the Department of Education, and they do not go through a credit check. They do not go through an income check. So if you want the loan, you submit the FAFSA. There's another couple documents that you need to submit, but you're guaranteed the loan, so it does not go through a credit check or anything like that. So if you need additional assistance for your tuition and fees, or for books, or for personal living expenses, loans are available for you. We have a net price calculator on our website, so if you want to get an idea of what aid you may be eligible for, maybe you're a junior in high school right now and you're just trying to figure out for next year what you may be eligible for, take a look at our calculator and that could help you. We also have the tuition payment plan. Now we're a little too far into this semester for the payment plan because they split it up into about 2 or 3 different months, but it's something that you could look into for the spring semester in January. if you need help. It's easier to kind of break your payments over a few months instead of making one lump sum at one time. So one question, can I use financial aid to purchase books and maybe a laptop? And the answer is yes. Like Michael had mentioned earlier, if your financial aid is greater than your charges, then you have extra money, and that is your money, and you can use it in our bookstore. You can charge your financial aid for the books in the bookstore beginning August 10th up through September 10th. So you have a month to use, a month that you can use your financial aid to cover your books and supplies. And lastly, things have changed. So when you submitted your FAFSA for this year, it was asking for 2018 income information, and we know a lot of things have changed since then. So if maybe you or your parents, your family, if there's a change in income, somebody has lost a job or hours have been reduced, or there's high medical bills and things like that, anything that you think that we need to be aware of, please reach out and let us know, because there's a possibility that we can make adjustments to your FAFSA in order for you to be eligible for more financial aid. So here's our contact information. Again, the easiest way to contact us is to email. It's financialaid@centralvirginia.edu, and we will get back with you. Again, if you can leave your student ID number, that will help us be able to see who you are, and we can answer your question a little quicker. So with that being said, do we have any questions, Kimberly?
Yes. How do you submit documentation? So for FAFSA, could you download parents' taxes?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So yes, you can, to be honest, you could even take a picture of the tax documents, a legible picture, and send them to us. The trick is we need to make sure that it's a signed copy. So if it's the 1040, you need to make sure that it has that parent signature on it before you send it to us. You can scan it and email it. You can fax it to us. We have a fax number on our website, or you can snail mail it into us. So yeah, we can get documents from you many different ways. Anything else, Kimberly?
Not in the chat. Not that hadn't already been covered by somebody else answering.
Okay. Yeah, is it Brianna? You lost your taxes. One thing you can do, you can reach out to the IRS and they can mail you your taxes, or you can retrieve your taxes on the website for free. Again, if you have specific questions on that, send us an email and we can help walk you through that. But I know we're running short on time, so I'm now going to pass it on to Raylene Cope, who is our college navigator, who kind of helps all students signing up for classes, getting into a correct program, and things like that. So Raylene, it is yours.
Thank you, Ryan, and welcome everybody. I see we've got several people out there, and it's really nice to see all the engagement that we've had thus far in our little program here. So my name is Raylene. I am a college navigator. I work with first year, typically traditional students that are coming into CVCC. My job is actually to help students be able to do things such as like the application for admission, like Karen was talking about. I can also help students assist with the FAFSA, like Ryan was talking about. But the other part of my job, the biggest part, is actually to check out like to assess how ready you are to come to college. So we can do that in many different ways. One of the ways that we do that is we can get a copy of your high school transcripts if you are within 5 years of graduating from high school. We can also take a copy of your GED or your SAT, ACT scores that you've taken while you're in high school. And we also have access to a practice placement test that students can take for us to evaluate their English and math readiness. One of the big questions that a lot of students have been asking lately is, what are we doing for the fall? What kind of class options do you have for the fall? And so this fall, we are, I'd like to say 90% actually online, but we have 3 different class options that we're offering for the fall. So I'm going to kind of go over those really quickly with you. We have regular virtual classes. These classes are exclusively online. There's no set time or date for those classes, and there's not a lot of verbal interaction with your instructors or your other classmates, but they will post, your instructors will post assignments and discussion boards and due dates as to when they'll be due, and you have to work at your own pace to actually complete the assignments by the due dates. We'll also have real-time instructions or live online classes in which instructors will use Zoom or Google Meet, and it'll be just like this. There will be an instructor and all of your classmates. You'll be able to see everyone, and this is the closest thing we can get to an actual real-time class. There will be actual dates and times, so you might have the class from on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 10:50, and you would log in just like you did with this Zoom, and the professor will instruct for that period of time. And if you've got questions, you'd raise your hand. You can push the little raise hand button. You can do the high five or the thumbs up or whatever, and you can be able to interact virtually. So if the professor asks a question, you can definitely answer, or if you have questions, you can ask. And then the third option that we're going to have are called hybrid classes. And these classes are going to be for our technical classes, such as welding, machine tool, HVAC, our EMS or health services, and culinary arts, and some of our science courses, where there will be a portion of the class that'll actually be instructed either virtually, like a regular virtual class, or real-time instruction like we are doing right now. And then the other portion will require you to come in to the campus, and we'll be using social distancing, of course. We'll be following all the regulations. You would have to wear a mask. There would be, 6 feet apart. The classroom won't be completely full. So we'll have all of those whole things kind of going on campus, and you will get all that type of notification beforehand. So that's how some of our classes will be instructed for the fall. We'll also, we have different times. So a lot of our virtual classes that will be real-time instructed will be actually recorded. So say you missed one because you couldn't get in right at that exact time, you can watch it a little later. I would encourage students to, bunker down and do the best that you actually can. We're all in this together. We're trying to make the best of the situation. This is for our safety and your safety as well. And we want to make sure that everyone is getting the education and services that they need and are taken care of. Are there any questions about enrollment, like enrolling in classes?
How would you just go about doing the regular virtual classes?
So you can contact us. So at the end, Kimberly will post all of our contact information, but we have a huge website on our, if you go to our website, there's a virtual advising link, and we can help get you lined up into classes. There's several counselors and navigators out there ready to help students. So if you contact us, we will help get you enrolled in classes for the fall.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so all right, I've already did my financial aid. I'm waiting for them to they said they had to verify me or something like that for a couple of days. So go ahead and email you guys, and you guys can get me already in classes, or should I wait for that?
You can go ahead and get enrolled in classes. The process of verification will take as long as you take to get the documentation in. The faster you get enrolled, the more opportunity you have to prepare yourself and get everything else together. But go ahead and contact us and get enrolled in the classes that you want for the fall.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I have a question. Hello.
Hello. Which?
Oh.
Okay, gotcha.
May you list the pros and cons? May you list the pros and cons of the virtual classes and the virtual live classes?
Oh, that's a toughie. I can try. So the virtual classes, for sure, the virtual live classes, some of the pros for that would be that we get to see each other. So It's a great way to be able to see your classmates and your instructors without actually having to physically touch them or be in the same room with them. If you're hungry and you want something to eat, you can eat right then and there, and I have no clue that you're eating because you can actually turn off your viewing so I can't see you. And you don't have to share with anybody else, so that's a good idea too. Probably some of the you know, the cons would probably be, you know, it's harder to you know, compete if you're going to, you know, some of us feed off of what other students have, and it might be a little bit harder to do that if you can't see everybody or if you don't have access to do that. Also, the professor can't read your body language and see if you're sleeping or not. So those kind of things might be a little bit tougher. Some pros of just the regular virtual classes is that you get to work at it at your own pace. So if you're a high achiever, you can speed through the work a little bit faster and get it done and submit it and not have to worry about it later. But some of the harder parts or some cons would be, you know, accountability. A lot of us need that in-class accountability or that face-to-face instruction to hold our feet to the fire to make sure the work is done. So that's a little bit harder if you're not self-motivated and can keep up and keep going on a daily basis. But those are some of the pros and cons for your virtuals and your real-time virtuals.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
So I had one about proctored testing for certain classes. Would that be before class would actually start or after? Like during?
So what type of proctored testing are you talking about?
So one of my earth science classes says that I have to have proctored testing required, and I didn't know which day that was supposed to be on.
I'll speak on that, Raylene, just for a minute. I think the proctor testing, they're going to use something with like Respondus lockdown, or they may be using something that you will not be coming to campus for a proctor test. They will be doing something maybe through a different service or something that will be able to proctor your test for you through virtual.
All right.
I had a question. I think you already said it, but I'm just trying to reiterate. Like, you said the EMS classes would be both like in the school and also on Zoom.
Right. Or maybe not necessarily Zoom, but actually just a virtual class, a basic virtual class. So there will probably front load, which means they will put all of the paperwork part first in your classroom setting. And so you would do a lot of the paperwork piece online, and then all of the, you know, physical stuff like actually doing the CPR, you would actually have to come in and do that, you know, physically. So some of the things you're going to have to do online, and then some of the things you're going to have to do in class. There's no option.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to move on to Mark Sokola now. I think I'm going to skip. I had a little quick poll, but I think because we're running short on time, I'm going to run over to let my colleague, Mark Sokola, talk to you about our transfer and career options that we have at CVCC.
Thank you, Kimberly. And I may not touch on any of those topics this evening because we're running out of time. But I don't know if you all noticed, I was on the telephone during this Zoom session. And I just want to congratulate everybody. I just got off the phone with the Guinness World Book of Records. And the CVCC open session Zoom broke a record this evening for most questions asked, answered in one evening. So give yourselves all a round of applause. Yeah, you are terrific. And hopefully you have lots more.
Okay.
It's past my bedtime and I don't care. You guys are doing great. Okay, so now if you don't remember anything that I say this evening, please remember this. Yes, tuition is due today, but that doesn't mean registration's still not going on. If you're waiting to hear back, you've submitted that FAFSA and you're waiting to get something back from the Department of Education, from CVCC, register for classes now. Do not wait until you find out if you're eligible or not. Do it now. We're all waiting for you to call us, email us to register for classes. Secure a seat in that class. If you wait till you hear from the financial aid process, it might get close to August 24th. That's okay. But if your class is sold out, we may not be able to squeeze you into that particular class. So I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that, but please remember that. And tonight I was so excited. I had 2 stories to share, but I don't dare do that now because I know someone will zap me off of the screen. Yep, there's Michael. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. All right, so let's see, which story do I want? 1 or 2? 1. Okay, so had a great story. I've worked with a student for 2-3 years. He's been going part-time because he works full-time, was interested in engineering. Heard from him the other day. He finished up his last 2 classes this summer, has his engineering associate's degree, and he has been accepted into Florida State, Virginia Commonwealth, University of Colorado at Denver, and Clemson. Not too shabby, but so our classes, they transfer in-state, they transfer out of state. So it was just a neat story. He's been working really hard for quite a bit of time, and now he's reaching his goal. He's fulfilling his dream. His future started right here at CVCC, just like yours can. So please get on the phone, call us, email us, and let your future begin. Okay, Kimberly, I'm done. Are we going straight to Deanne?
Think so. I think I'm just going to move straight to Deanne for student life, and then we'll wrap up with some questions at the end.
Thank you, Kim. And I'm going to be really quick here because I know we're running out of time. So if you, so student life is kind of the activities and clubs and leadership opportunities that we have on campus. With us being virtual this coming fall, we will still do those because we want to make sure that we engage with our students outside of the classroom. So in Canvas, which is as you get into your SIS, you'll learn about, that's where a lot of your class information is going to be through Canvas. But there is also going to be an option in there called a virtual student center. And in there is where all of our activities and programmings will be held. So you will get notifications just like you kind of do for your classes, but you'll get them for also your activities as well. Also, you'll get them through your emails. When we have our weekly activities schedule, will go out through your email. So make sure you're checking your emails for those. They go out every Monday. But yeah, we will still have programming and fun things for you guys to do virtually. So, and that's where they're going to be in our Canvas Virtual Student Center. So once you get into going into your classes and things, make sure you check out that as well so you can see what's happening in there. So I'm going to throw it back to Kimberly so we can do Q&A.
Thank you, Deanne. And I also want to just let you know, for everyone who's already enrolled in your classes, you should have received an email for new students about the new student orientation that is in your Canvas. So when you log into your My CVCC, that first icon that you have is Canvas, and that is where you're going to go in and do your new student orientation. You should do that prior to starting your classes. I want to open it up now for the question and answer session. So feel free to either put it in the chat or unmute yourself and ask us some questions.
I think they just run out of questions.
And I did put our contact information in the chat. So you have all of our names and our email addresses. Feel free to reach out to us. We are here to help you. We want to make sure that you get through that process. We know it can be complicated at times, but we are all here to make sure that you are successful in getting into that enrollment and you're successful in that first semester and beyond. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to hand it over to Michelle to wrap up.
Well, hold on.
Wait, Dorothy has a question. Go, Dorothy.
Hi. I just have a quick question about, I think I already asked it, but I just want a little more clarification. So so as one of the counselors said that today is the due date for to put your money in for your classes. If I'm enrolled already, how can I make sure, because I don't see the classes on my dashboard? I guess that's one question. And then the other question is about if I'm waiting for financial aid, should I pay for the classes that I'm already enrolled in today and then wait for financial aid, or should I wait for financial aid to come in?
I want to take that one. Hi, Dorothy.
Okay.
It's Michael.
Hi.
If I were you on the should I pay today, I would not pay today if you think financial aid is there and you are working with Ryan and his team. I would not. Now, if you get, because if you're expecting financial aid to pay for your books, then you're gonna want to wrap it up with financial aid. You're gonna want to get things taken care of with Ryan and his crew. So, Dorothy, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to Ryan or Ryan, Dorothy, I can tell you're a little nervous about that, and we don't want you to be. Practically, if financial aid is going to be there, then you don't have to come out of pocket for it and then, reimburse yourself 8 weeks after the semester begins. But folks, I don't know about you, but sometimes money can be a little tight around the beginning of a semester. I'm a student also, so I can appreciate that. So there's no need to drop down that kind of money only to have financial aid come in before classes start, because it'll be a long time before you get that money back. So I wouldn't pay right away. But I will say this too: if financial aid doesn't work out, you're going to need to be prepared to.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, very good question, and that's a question that honestly applies to some other folks on this call as well. Just be mindful. We're not gonna pull the plug on you or drop you from your classes if you didn't pay your tuition today. Now you won't be eligible to get that laptop tomorrow, but that's okay. You'll stay in your classes. But if you get to a point where financial aid isn't coming through or you weren't eligible, you're gonna want to make that decision, in order to stay in those classes. So.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Dorothy, check your chat. I just sent you a private chat. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Is Brittany in here? She signed me up, and I was just wondering, if she can email me later so I can talk to her about the bookstore, because I don't know what's going on with that.
What's the question about the bookstore?
Yeah, Brittany's not here tonight, but we can have her contact you.
Thank you. It's just saying that I don't have an account to CVCC. It's something going on with my student ID.
Okay.
That might be more of a Karen question. I don't know. We want to make sure that, because I'm not real familiar with how the bookstore works, honestly, as far as needing your student ID. I know you probably need that in order to charge financial aid, but do you need that in order to just get a book from our bookstore?
No, if you're planning to use your financial aid in the bookstore, it's too early. So if you're trying to go in there now and use your financial aid to buy books, they won't allow it until Monday of next week.
Yeah.
So next Monday, August 10th, is when you can use your financial aid in the bookstore.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, maybe that's all it is, Ray. Maybe it's just too early.
Yeah, it might be. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
Go, Sarah.
If I am dual enrolled, which means if I'm dual enrolled, if that means if I'm transferring from CVCC to Randolph College, how do I know which classes transfer and which ones don't?
You would work with one of our the counselors. We have counselors that'll help you with the transition, look up what's required for each of the schools for you, and be able to help pick out the classes for you.
Thank you. I also have one more question.
Sure.
I tried to go to email something on the CVCC email site, and when I pushed the Gmail button, it kept buffering and it wouldn't work. How do I navigate through that site and
Have you already
email
enrolled in your
things?
class?
No.
No. Okay.
No,
Until
ma'am.
you enroll in classes, you do not have, your Gmail will not work. Your Gmail gets activated once you're enrolled in your classes. So that's why it's probably buffering for you right now. It won't actually activate until you are enrolled in courses at CVCC.
And Sarah, did you say you were a dual enrollment student?
I think it's co-enrollment.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
From I'm going to transfer from CVCC to Randolph College.
Okay, so you're in the Randolph College co-enrollment. So yeah, okay. Yeah, that's great.
I have a quick
Yes,
question.
Uh-huh.
It may be probably overthinking things, but since classes are going to be virtual, the books, will they be physical? Will we be picking them up from the bookstore, or will they be online editions?
That's a very good question. Our bookstore is open.
Right.
Some of the books will be digital, and then there are going to be some paper ones too.
You can make a
Okay.
choice, Crystal, on some
Yeah.
of the different books that you want. Some of our classes use like a program called Cengage, which is like an online library, and you buy an access code to this online library, and you have access to so many books. So depending on which package you buy. So you can choose to either get some that are online, or you can get some that are in like a physical book. Just know that if you decide to get a physical book, that you don't want to take the plastic or anything off of it until you know for sure you're going to use it, because you won't be able to return it for full cost back to our bookstore.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. That answered my question.
And I think it might be Lashaya. You had asked a question if there's a program to help purchase laptops. I would reach out to, gosh, my mind.
Filmika.
Yes, thank you, Filmika Reed. And she will be able to help you be able to get in contact with how to help that. I'll put her information in the very bottom for you as well.
We've got a good question about placement testing from Pam.
So Pam, it depends on if you have, your question is, I'll read it so people can see, because I know some of our phone callers can't read it. It says, in my to-do list, it's telling me that I have to do a placement testing before even enrolling. I'm stuck. What are my options? So depends on the type of student that you are. If you are just recently graduated within 5 years from high school, we can use your high school transcripts and do what we call multiple measure, where we use the different information from your transcripts or your SATs, or if you have a GED, we can, or ACTs as well, we can use that information and place you. If you have decent grades, if you have at least a 3.0 or at least a 2.9 or somewhere in there and above. If your grades are not the best, but you're still a wonderful student like everybody else, you can actually go in and we have a practice placement test. So you need to reach out to a navigator or a counselor, and we can work through that with you. The placement testing that we have is in math and in English. So there's 2 tests, and you just need to simply take those online for us.
All right, is that it? Well, let me say this,
sorry.
and we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the evening.
I think somebody had a question, Michelle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Where is it?
I was just wondering I was wondering what the deadline was for the financial aid stuff, because like I've applied for financial aid. It was requiring a W-2 form thing, but I haven't worked in 2018, so like I had to send in the non-filing form, and due to everything of COVID-19, it's kind of taking it a while to get back. So I was wondering what the deadline was for that to bring in that form.
So Jacob, I think I have the answer, but can you email me, or I want to
Yeah,
get in
sure.
contact with you. Can you send me an email, or just email financialaid@centralvirginia.edu?
All
And
right.
let me look and see what we still need from you, and let me take a look at your FAFSA, and then I'll get back with you tomorrow, and we can nail down what's going on. But we'll
Yeah,
figure it
so,
out. We'll get
so
through it.
far it's said only one thing about the W-2 form, and that's it after applying for FAFSA, because I did it last year, and I'm planning to do it this.
Okay. It may be as simple as we could, depending on, again, the FAFSA, we may just get a written statement from you that you're trying to get your taxes. Send me an email and we'll work through it together.
All right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any more questions? Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Let me say to the panel, you guys did an absolutely beautiful job. A lot of good information that you put out tonight. And I'm more than sure that these students can feel all the love and support that's coming their way, and that we are doing everything, we will do everything we can to help them be successful and reach their academic goals. And to the students, I would say to you that these sessions are recorded. They are located on our website and our YouTube channel. So feel free to go out and take a look again and again. We will meet again next Tuesday. If you are available, we would ask that you join us, and just have a great evening. And again, thank you for being with us.
Good night, everyone. Y'all have a great evening.
Good night.
Good job.
Thank you. Good night. Have a good evening.
Best question.
Thank you.
Hey, Jamie's iPhone, I just sent you a message. So Jamie's iPhone, make sure you look at your Zoom message.
Yay.